Hello, Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon, Arizona Mountain Standard Time, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. And I am proud to be sponsored by BetterHelp, with a P, BetterHelp, betterhelp.com/Chris Godinez. I will put that down in the description. It is an online therapy thing that you can go and find a therapist online. And if you're in a rural area and you don't like the therapist that's in your area and you don't want to have to drive 2 hours, then get on to betterhelp.com/Chris Godinez. And they will, after you fill out a couple of questions, they will put you with a therapist in your state, which I think is pretty awesome. And if you are outside of the United States, it is an international company, meaning if you live in the UK, if you live in any of the places outside of the United States, and especially the UK, because the UK is the one that's always telling me, oh my gosh, it's a 6-month or more waiting list. I can't get in, help, that kind of thing. So Italy, UK, France, you name it, they can set you up with a therapist here in the States. And you can get in pretty darn quickly. So that makes me very happy. So www.betterhelp with a P.com/Chris Godinez. I will put it down in the description. Okay, let's hit the questions. Okay, question. I came in late and saw someone wrote Boundaries Workbook, author please. Okay, so there's a ton of books on boundaries. So The Disease to Please by Harriet Breaker is a great one. It's codependency, because remember, codependency is about boundaries. It's being able to say no and not feel guilty. So The Disease to Please by Harriet Breaker, Codependent No More, Beyond Codependent No More, both by Melanie Beattie. There's also a codependency book by Pia Melody. If you go on to Amazon and you look up boundaries or you look up codependency, tons of great books. So feel free to go explore. I have not read every single book. I mean, I've read all the books that I'm telling you about, but I have not read every single book. But if a book speaks to you on boundaries, then get it and read it, because it's really important for us as survivors of, toxic relationships to work on boundaries and being able to say no and being able to not feel guilty about it. So, yep, that's what I would suggest. Okay. I have a covert passive-aggressive family member who's highly toxic. They're the golden child. How do I keep my sanity while living with them? There's only so many shopping trips I can make. Okay, so it's really difficult to heal when you're in the environment in which you are being abused. Does that make sense? So yeah, there's only so many shopping trips you can make. Other than that, you're going to have to learn gray rock, meaning they start their little crazy dance and you guns are flying. And you're just going to have to learn to have no emotional response. That's gray rocking. That's, no emotional response, because they're looking for upset. They're looking for anger. They're looking for tears. They're looking for anything. So you give them nothing, and if you can, go into your room, shut the door. But if they follow you into the room or they start pounding on the door, then you need to start looking at getting out. Seriously. Like, if your sanity is being lost and they're not giving you the space and there's only so many shopping trips you can make, etc., and they're following you into your room and not allowing you to get away from them, then you're going to need to look at getting out. Now, I would start looking at your state Department of Economic Security. I would look to charities. I would look to shelters. I would. In Arizona, there is a place called Fresh Start Women's Resource Center, which is awesome because they have all sorts of resources for women. I wish they did that for men, because men are the victims of, or the targets of, abusers as well. So, so look for things like that and then start making your plan to get out. And really, gray rock. And in your head, you're going to have to be like, you know what? This is not about me. It's not. And it's a hard thing to learn. It's a hard, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a very useful tool to have, but it is a hard tool to learn, because when somebody's in your face screaming at you, it's really hard to maintain control, but you have to remind yourself, this is not about me. This behavior is about them. It's not about me. They're doing whatever they're doing because they got issues. So it's a lot of Zen. It's a lot of Zen. So if you can get away from them in the house, go to your room, shut your door, whatever, do that. If you can't, you need to start looking at getting out, because that would be the safest option. So there that is. Okay. Person who constantly self-sabotages, is that denial, and is there hope? No, it is not denial. It is low self-esteem. So people who love themselves do not self-sabotage. They don't. And with somebody with low self-esteem, it's like they self-sabotage because they don't feel they deserve good things. So constantly shooting themselves in the foot, constantly making the wrong decision, constantly, if there's an easy road and a hard road, they inevitably go for the hard road. And it's because of self-sabotage. It's because of low self-esteem. And sometimes it's because the inner child is trying to fulfill the self-fulfilling prophecy of whatever the abuser kept filling their heads with. So you're stupid, you're bad, you're wrong, you don't deserve this, you don't, all of the negative stuff, all of the internal critic stuff. So really, it's the person who is doing the self-sabotage, first of all, has to admit there's a problem. Just like anything else, oh, shoot, I'm self-sabotaging. Why am I doing that? And then start analyzing it. Why am I doing that? Who am I trying to appease by failing? Really, who am I trying to appease by failing? Because remember, not all of them, all of the abusers do not want their target to succeed. They don't want them to be happy. They don't want them to be healthy. They don't want them to be successful. How dare you be more than I am? How dare you? How dare you? Because they have to be the penultimate of everything. So yeah, it's acknowledging that that's happening and then analyzing why. Get with a good therapist. What is going on? Get the Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi. You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. Start working that stuff. Why are you allowing this, the internal critic, to dictate how successful you are? And who are you trying to appease by failing? What up? Is there hope? Yes. If you are willing to work on yourself, yes, there is hope. Absolutely. You can absolutely ask any survivor who's been there, done that. Hello, raise your hand. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we've all been there. We've all done that. When I wrote my first book, I was more terrified of it being successful than I was of it failing. Why? I know how to fail. Wasn't real sure about how to be successful because it was never okay. It was never okay. So you really got to figure out who in your family made it never okay for you to be successful. What is that about? And you want to write them a letter. Dear mom, dear dad, dear ex, dear boss, dear ex-friend, dear whatever. Bleep the bleepity bleep bleep out of bleeping bleep you. I am not going to self-sabotage to make you happy. That's not happening. Thanks for playing. I refuse to play your game. I refuse to let your self-fulfilling prophecy become my self-fulfilling prophecy. When you're speaking my doom, you're talking about yourself. Projection. Thank you for playing. Go pound sand. Trot it out to the barbecue. Read it out loud once. Burn it. Let it go. And get with a good therapist. Start working on self-esteem. It's all about self-esteem. The only people who sabotage are people that have very, very, very low self-esteem. Absolutely. Okay, let's see. What is the next one? Is it possible to get addicted to the anxiety that you experienced during the abuse? I found that in that place, I practiced certain techniques to counter that feeling. Does that make sense? Yes. So it's a way of keeping our abuser alive, or it's a way of keeping our abuser close to us. Because remember, there is an addiction component, the intermittent positive rewards, right? So when we're anxious and then it makes us think of our abuser, guess what? We're releasing endorphins, dopamine, serotonins, et cetera, norepinephrines, because we got addicted to that intermittent positive reward. I love you, I love you, I love you. That's the part that we miss. We don't miss it when they were mean to us. Absolutely not. We miss the part where they were love bombing. We miss the part where they were like, oh, you're the greatest thing ever, blah, blah, blah. So, we can become addicted to whatever emotion keeps them close to us. So for me, it was anger. I would get angry at my dad and I'd rail at him and then, working with my therapist, it was like, oh, you're trying to keep him alive. Mind blown. So, yeah, it's a way of trying to keep the abuser still there and to fix them or to fix that relationship or to figure out why that person who was so important to us is no longer there. So, what you want to do is you got to, again, acknowledge it. Yep. Okay. So, the anxiety is a is a gateway drug to my abuser, right? And so you got to be like, okay, I'm just going to deal with the anxiety and I am not going to allow myself to enjoy this, right? Because then, then we're back into, oh my gosh, it reminds me of kind of thing, trip down memory lane. So, yeah, you want to get with a good therapist and you want to work on that and you want to write and journal and you want to get a anxiety workbook. You might also want to get an OCD workbook and work on intrusive thoughts and, or obsessive thoughts. And really hold yourself accountable. It's like, I don't need to be anxious. I don't need it. I don't need to keep connected to this person. Write that person a goodbye letter. Dear so-and-so, you did this, you did this, you did this, you did this. I am not playing this game anymore. You don't get to make that entrance through my anxiety. Thanks so much. Go pound sand and then trot it out to the barbecue, read it out loud once, burn it, work with your therapist. Absolutely. Okay. Okay. And yes, that totally makes sense. Thank you for asking that question because that's common. We connect emotions with our abuser and we become addicted to those emotions. So yeah, absolutely. And you want to separate that out. You do. Okay. Can a relationship with somebody with borderline personality disorder work? Yes, it can. And this is a big if the person with borderline personality disorder is actively working on the behaviors, is going to a DBT therapist. And I don't just mean, they go once in a while. I mean, they're going through the whole 1.5, 2 year long program, going individual group. And then when they get out of that, they do maintenance with a DBT therapist so that they're constantly mindful, working on it, holding themselves accountable, not doing any of the you behavior, psychotic thinking, other personality disorder traits, that they are being mindful of what they are saying and doing and taking accountability. That is the big thing. If they are not taking accountability, if they are not working on themselves, if they're using their borderline personality disorder as an excuse, no, that relationship will never work. Because like I said, it's on a spectrum. So down here you have traits of, down here, you have completely malignant. And so the further they go down the spectrum without working on themselves, it becomes abusive. Absolutely. So yeah, if they're working on themselves actively, doing maintenance or in a program, working on themselves that way and have maintenance planned and is doing the maintenance and not just, I don't feel like it this month. No, going to that therapist, being honest, being open, holding themselves accountable, cleaning up messes as soon as they happen, then yeah, you can have a healthy relationship with somebody that has borderline. Absolutely. Because it's based in trauma. If they deal with the trauma and they deal with the maladaptive behavior and they're willing to be responsible for their own behavior and work on themselves, yes, you can have a healthy relationship. Absolutely. Okay. All right. I am low contact with one very elderly family member, very toxic. Is that going to stop my healing process? No, it's not, but it might throw some monkey wrenches in it. So just like the earlier question, it's like I'm living in it. Is that, what can I do? Same thing with low contact. So with somebody who is very toxic, you basically have to gird your loins every single time you're going to have contact with them. Like seriously, like you are literally going into battle. Like seriously, like you have to remind yourself, this is whatever comes out of this person's mouth is not about me. It is about them. I refuse to play. I'm not going to take anything personally. And basically it's like, you have to psych yourself up to see them or to have contact with them, or, the phone rings and you see it's that person. Okay, it's them, it's not me. And hello, and then afterwards, when you're done, you're probably going to want to journal or you're going to want to detox in some way, shape, or form. Take a shower, go for a jog, that type of thing. And keep reminding yourself that it's them, it's not you. So yeah, it's not going to stop your healing process. It's not. It may slow it and it may throw some monkey wrenches in it depending on what they say to you, especially if they're really nasty and toxic. But what you need to do is you need to take good care of yourself, meaning have a therapist. Work on your self-esteem, work on boundaries. When you have to have contact with them, are you prepared for them to do the crazy dance? And can you gray rock? And can you not take it personally? So that's really what you need to do, is not take it personally, because it's not about you. It's about them. Their behavior is about them. It's not about you. So, and then have a plan. It's like, how are you going to protect yourself before you have to have contact with them, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and otherwise? How are you going to detox afterwards? What are you going to do to take care of yourself? How are you going to let go of all that stuff? So one good way is to journal it, write it out, burn it, take a shower, go for a jog, something like that. And definitely get with a good therapist. If you don't have one, get with a good therapist. Speaking of which, BetterHelp with a P, www.betterhelp.com/Chris Godinez. They've got online counselors. This is the place to go if you are outside of the United States and you are looking for a counselor, or you're in a rural area and you don't want to have to drive thousands of miles to go find another counselor. Online is super, super easy and super convenient, I think. So there it is. All right, you guys. So this week on We Need to Talk is going to be unlearning learned behavior. So basically, how to get rid of fleas, how to get rid of all of the behaviors that we got from family or from the spouse or, whatever that we don't like, that we don't want to do, that we've noticed have been popping out of our mouths. So unlearning learned behavior. All right, kids, have a great week, and I will talk to you on Sunday. Bye.